XRP just quietly reset a key market metric, and hardly anyone has noticed. Right, the last time that we saw this setup, XRP exploded to a new high, and I think that it's happening again. Now, I'm excited about this. As someone who's been invested in XRP since early 2020, I've seen some pretty wild swings, but when I spotted a clue in the data after the recent crash, I got a flashback to an earlier rally. Now, in this video, I want to take you on a personal journey, how I discovered this hidden signal and why it could be huge for XRP's price. I'll also share what I'm doing to prepare, including a new project that I'm testing. Hint, it does involve earning crypto with some mobile devices, plus a special little way that you can snag some free XRP. Now, there's a lot to cover in this video and a story to tell, so stick around. You're not going to be one that you're going to want to miss. Let me set the scene. It was late night after a brutal October 10th crypto market crash. I was exhausted. Who wouldn't be after seeing portfolios take that kind of hit? But I couldn't sleep. So I started digging into some of the charts. Now, that crash, it triggered massive liquidations everywhere. Basically, a bunch of people trading with leverage got wiped out. It was not a fun moment, right? But here's the silver lining. Sometimes those wipeouts leave behind a golden opportunity. Now, I remembered from my past experiences and some hard lessons that when leverage gets flushed out, the market can actually finally breathe again. So, I'm staring at the screen, looking at something called open interest, especially on Binance, one of the biggest exchanges out there. And if you're not familiar, open interest, or OI, is just the total number of futures contracts open at any given time. In plain English, it's how many people are actually gambling long or short on XRP with leverage. And after that crash, the XRP open interest, it plunged to yearly lows. Right, we're talking levels not seen since April or May of 2025. Boom, reset all the way down. Meanwhile, the price of XRP was still hovering around $2.50, which is way higher than it was back in April when OI was this low before. I had to double check. Could history be repeating itself? Now, according to crypto quant analyst 𝗗𝗀𝗰𝗍, probably really murdering your name as I always do. I apologize. I just simply cannot pronounce names for the life of me. Anyway, moving on, she did point out something rather fascinating because back in mid-April, XRP's open interest, it hit rock bottom at around about $541.5 million. Now, at the time, XRP's price was just around $1.80 to $2. And guess what happened next? As open interest, gradually recovered, XRP's price absolutely took off, soaring to a peak of around $3.66 by July. Now, I saw that and I remembered that rally, right? And it was kind of like a rocket. Fast forward to now, of course, after the October crash, and XRP's open interest on Binance, it shrank from $1.3 billion, that's the peak, on October 6th, down to about $494 million. That is even lower than it was in April. Yet, here is the kicker. XRP is still holding around that $2.50. In other words, we've actually flushed out all of the excess leverage, but the price didn't completely collapse. I mean, it did, but very briefly, right? It's actually quite steady right now, supported by what looks like true believers and long-term holders. When I realized this, it kind of blew my mind. It's like the market hit the reset button, right? So think of it this way. When a video game boss knocks out all of the noobs, right? And only the strongest players are left for the next round, right? Well, that's what seems to have actually happened. Now, this analyst, who I'm not going to utter their name because I will murder it again, put it in a more kind of analytical term. She said that this shows strong holders are now in control, while speculative trading has thinned out. Instead of gamblers piling on leverage, more people are actually holding actual XRP rather than playing the futures market. And that is usually a bullish sign. Why is this bullish? Well, it's because the fewer leverage bets there are, there's less risk of those sudden cascade liquidations that slam the price down. So it's like the XRP market went on a cleanse or a detox. Now, the analyst noted that when open interest drops this deep, one of two things usually follows. Either one, the market has been cleared of leverage and has room to rise again, or two, traders just move from futures to spot, i.e. they're now holding coins instead of contracts. Now, given XRP's price barely budged through all of this, hovering around $2.50, well, then she leans more towards the first scenario, that this is the early stage of a new uptrend. And you know what? I'm inclined to agree. So here I am connecting the dots at 2 a.m. I'm practically getting deja vu, right? The setup looks eerily similar to April. How low, or at least open interest, low open interest to firm price, and then rally time. Maybe I'm cautiously optimistic here, right? It's been a bit like a coiled spring, right? All of the potential energy is there, just waiting. Now, we have to be on the cusp, or at least we might be on the cusp, of something rather big. But of course, nothing is ever guaranteed in crypto. Now, I have to tell you, right, when I first bought XRP in early 2020, I didn't know about things like open interest, right? I was basically just a bit of a newbie and like, oh, XRP, banks might use it, number go up. Fantastic. Now, I've learned a lot since then, often the hard way. I held through the SEC lawsuit drama, remember late 2020, when the SEC sued Ripple. XRP's price crashed pretty hard then, exchanges delisted it, and that was kind of trial by fire. Now, many of us held on, believing in the technology and that eventually seeing a huge rebound when Ripple got clarity. Now, that experience, it taught me what strong hands really does mean. Now, when I see data like OI at lows while price holds, I usually think the weak hands have largely been shaken out. Now, the people still in the game are like me, right? They've been through the ups and the downs and aren't easily spooked by this stuff. That's exactly why this OI reset, has me kind of excited. It suggests that the foundation of this market is solid. Let's talk about what could happen next, because I'm not just here to geek out on data, right? I want to know how to act on it, and I bet you do too. Now, based on the analysis, so shout out again to the analyst that shall not be named and their insights, but there are some key, price levels on the radar here. Now, on the downside, always plan for both scenarios, by the way, she highlights $2.20 to $2.40 in a short-term buying zone. Meanwhile, if XRP dips into that range, or this meaning that if the price dips into that range, it might actually attract a lot of buyers and bounce strongly. As long as we stay above $2.20, that is. The broader bullish trend, from this year is still intact. Now, I have eyes on that zone, but personally, if we get near $2.20 and things look positive, I'll likely scoop up a bit more XRP right there. Beyond that and below that, the major kind of structural support is actually at $1.85, which formed during the last big consolidation. Now, that would be the do not cross line for the bulls. If $1.85 breaks, well, it would be a sign that momentum is broken. And if, heaven forbid, the floor absolutely falls out, that's a deep psychological floor way down at 60 to 70 cents, right? Ouch. Now, I'm not saying that we're ever going to see that again. I hope not, honestly, but it's, tied to previous OI lows and a level that some analysts keep in their back pocket as an extreme scenario. All right, so now for the fun part, the upside. Because first, we have to kind of tackle the $2.80 to $3 region. Right, this is the nearest resistance band, right? Now, I suspect that a lot of people have sell orders right up there. Maybe because $3 is a nice round number and also not far from the recent high. If XRP can punch through that zone, things could actually escalate pretty quickly. Above $3, the next big test is going to be around $3.30 to $3.50. That's roughly the peak from the rally of July. Remember that $3.66, right? It's also a huge psychological barrier. Breaking past the high of the year would actually be pretty major. So if we get there, I can guarantee that the hype will be off the charts. Now, here's where it gets really exciting and interesting. If XRP clears $3.50 with momentum, well, we could enter a full breakout phase. Now, the analyst even mentioned that based on earlier patterns, we could actually be looking at about $4.20 to $4.50 as a realistic top target, at least for the move. Now, I know, that sounds pretty bold. to some. But when I look at the charts, it's not outlandish at all. XRP's all-time high from the last cycle, 2018, was around $3.84 or so. So $4 plus isn't some mythical number. It's within reach if the stars align. And the idea of hitting $4.20 to $4.50 gets me pretty pumped, not gonna lie. Now, let me temper that with a bit of caution, though. Right, the data suggests this bullish scenario, but it's not a crystal ball. Right, one really interesting observation is that XRP's price is strong while OI is weak, which implies that a lot of short sellers might get trapped right now. If XRP starts rising, of course, then those shorts could panic and buy back to cover off their losses, which in turn could push the price even higher. A classic short squeeze. Now, it's kind of like a powder keg, right? Now, the analyst noted that even a 25% rise in open interest sustained over a few days could spark a surge towards $3.50. And if that level breaks, possibly propel XRP to the $4.50 range. However, and this is important, not everyone agrees on the rosy outlook. Some analysts that I respect, like 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗍𝗱, thinks that XRP's short-term price action might actually lean bearish, maybe due to broader market factors or technical patterns that signal a pullback. And actually, my own analysis also tells me that we should probably be preparing more for the bearish scenario in the short term, a lot like 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗍𝗱. So we do have to keep our eyes open on both of these possibilities. So at this point, you'll probably be sensing my enthusiasm, and I won't pretend to be neutral here. I am rooting for XRP here, right? But also know that how unpredictable, I guess, the crypto market can be. It's time for a quick reality check and a friendly reminder. And this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Now, I know that disclaimer was a bit of a buzzkill, but I had to say it. I want everyone watching this to stay safe and to make the best possible decisions for themselves. Now, let's get back to the good stuff, specifically what I am doing as I anticipate a potential explosive period for XRP after the short-term consolidation. Now, consider this part of the story where the protagonist, that being me, shares his own game plan. You see, aside from just holding XRP and watching charts like a hawk, I'm also exploring ways to earn crypto on the side. One project that caught my attention is called Unity. Now, some of you might recall that I've mentioned Unity in previous videos. It's not the main focus for today, of course, but it is part of my journey, so I'd like to reminisce, I guess, not to kind of give you too much detail, but to give you a little bit of an update on what's going on. In a nutshell, Unity, of course, lets you turn your smartphone into a part of a global network and earns crypto rewards for doing so. Think of it like a decentralized telecoms network powered by regular people's smartphones. The idea is basically by running the Unity app on your phone, you can make some verification calls and help verify the global telecoms grid. It's kind of a proof of work system, but instead of crunching pointless numbers, your phone is actually checking the network for issues in the real world. And for doing so, you actually get paid in crypto. And you can choose from popular coins like BTC, ETH, ADA, and yes, of course, XRP, amongst many others. It's pretty cool, right? So, well, yeah, I thought so. And I went ahead and I purchased a Unity node NFT, which basically is my ticket into their system. Now, each Unity node, it comes with 200 licensed NFTs. Think of those licenses as slots for devices. That means, in theory, I could connect up to 200 phones to my node. Now, the app has not gone live just yet, but it's supposed to be launched really soon. Now, my plan is to start small. I'm going to hook up those 10 devices that you see on the desk, at first and run the test to see how this app works in a live environment. I want to see how it works, what the rewards are like, on a smaller scale. And if it is successful and worthwhile, then I might just scale it up gradually. What's really neat is I can actually choose to be paid in different cryptocurrencies of my choice, from their options, right? Now, I'm planning to get my Unity rewards paid out in a mix of different things: BTC, Ethereum, ADA, and of course XRP. They've also recently just partnered up with Polkadot to add DOT as an option, so I might add some DOT as well. Why those? Because they're coins that I believe in the longer term, right? And it's a great way to stack more cryptos passively over time. It's almost like stacking or mining, but using smartphones. So just imagine earning a bit of Bitcoin or extra XRP every day just by having a phone doing its thing in the background. Now, I'm not hyping this as a get-rich-quick scheme, right? No, it's an experiment that I'm going to be doing. I've done my research on it, right? But you should definitely do your own research if it sounds interesting to you, right? I'll put some links in the description down below for the light paper and their rewards calculator so you can see all the details and the numbers for yourself. Many of you guys already know the concept of Unity since I've talked about it in previous videos, so I won't kind of, go on and on about it. But here is a quick update. I've actually purchased another Unity node recently, a second and third node, and as part of a little plan I have to actually help others get involved. Not everyone can or wants to drop money into a full master node or run 200 devices for themselves, right? That's not necessarily what everyone wants to do. So what I'm planning to do is lease out some of my licenses to people who are interested in Unity, but maybe want to just dip their toes in first or just do things on a smaller scale. Now, essentially, you could operate a few licenses under my node and still earn rewards without buying the whole node yourself. Now, we're setting up a system for this, and I'm going to share more details about that on our website and in our free educational Discord server. Yes, that's a shameless plug right there for the free educational Discord, but seriously, if you're not in there, you need to join us. It's a great place to learn and stay updated. I share a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff there too, including things like Unity, market insights, you kind of name it. So join there if you want to know more about it. Now, beyond finding new projects, another part of my strategy is making sure that I'm prepared for any market scenario. One big lesson that I've learned over the years is to have multiple exchanges set up and ready to go. When things get crazy, like a sudden pump or an exchange going down, you really don't want to be scrambling to open up a new account. Now, I personally have accounts on basically all of the major crypto exchanges. I go through the KYC, the verification in advance, and even test small trades and withdrawals, right? Just so that I know how to use each platform and that it works well. It's like having a plan A, B, C, and D. If one exchange has issues or halts withdrawals, I can quickly just move to another. Now, in past bull runs, I saw exchanges get overwhelmed or even freeze trading for a bit, and I was really glad to have backups. Because of this, I've actually compiled all of the exchanges that I use with my referral links on my website. Full disclosure though, those are affiliate links, which means that if you do use them, it supports the channel here at no extra cost to yourself. Basically, I earn a small commission and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Now, I really do appreciate everyone who uses those links, as it helps me keep these, at least making these videos for you guys. But even if you ignore my links, at least consider setting yourself up on a couple of different exchanges. It's just good practice. Two exchanges that I want to give a quick shout out to are Blowfin and BitGet. Right, I've been using them lately and they've been pretty solid. And yes, I have affiliate links for those over on the website too. So if you do decide to try them out, then using my links is a nice way to support the channel here. Right, each of those that I've mentioned is via an affiliate link that helps us out. So thank you in advance. Now, speaking of exchanges and getting something out of it, I really am excited to share this limited time offer that I've arranged with Kraken. Now, I've actually partnered with Kraken's crypto exchange, one of the long-time favorites and one of the very few US regulated crypto exchanges, to hook you all up with a special promo. And here is the deal. If you sign up for Kraken through my link that's in the description and you trade $100 or more of any crypto, excluding stablecoins, within 30 days of signing up, well, Kraken will give you $25 worth of XRP for free. Yes, free XRP just for trying out Kraken. This is a truly legit offer directly from Kraken. They reached out to me on this one. So hats off to those guys who saw that you guys are really enjoying these videos and they want to reward that with some free crypto. Essentially, invest $100, get $25 in XRP as a reward. That's like a 25% bonus on your investment. It's not too shabby for something that takes maybe just a few minutes to actually do. Let me just break this down a little bit more. Right, you sign up with my referral link that is an affiliate link, which again supports the channel. You complete whatever verification is needed, and you make a trade of at least $100 in any crypto that is not a stablecoin. So you buy $100 of XRP itself, for example, or Bitcoin, or whatever you want. And once you do that, Kraken will credit you with $25 in XRP. Now you've got 30 days to meet the $100 trading criteria after signing up. The offer is for a limited time, so don't procrastinate if you're interested for too long. And if you, at least I have all the details, I should say, and the terms are all linked down below. In fact, we've got Kraken's official terms and conditions linked in the description, which are a must because not every jurisdiction is eligible. Personally, I think this is a win-win-win situation. So if you're like me and you want to accumulate more XRP for the long run, an extra $25 worth of XRP is a pretty sweet bonus. Plus, even beyond the bonus, Kraken is just a great exchange to have in your arsenal, right? So it's one of the oldest and most trusted in the industry. And as I mentioned, having multiple exchanges ready is part of being a smart investor. So even if you mainly only use, let's say, Binance or Coinbase or whatever, having Kraken account set up and tested means that you've got a strong plan B or plan C, and getting some free XRP as you kind of set things up is kind of like the cherry on top. All right, so let's zoom out and wrap up this story today, right? When I set out on this little investigation, I honestly didn't expect that it would turn into such a journey. I started with noticing a bit of a pattern, that XRP's open interest resetting after a crash, and it led me to recall lessons from years past, analyze the market setup, and even evaluate how I'm positioning myself for what is to come. If there's one thing that I want you all to take away from this today, it's that being early and prepared feels a lot better than being late and surprised. Now, I saw that key metric quietly hit a low, and I thought, I've seen this movie before. Maybe the sequel will just be as good as the original. The rally to $3.50, maybe even better. Or maybe it'll just throw a bit of a curveball. Either way, I'm not just sitting around, I'm getting ready. And I encourage you all to do the same, whatever way that makes sense for you guys. For me, that means holding my XRP tight and even adding more on the dips, experimenting with projects like Unity nodes, and to grow my crypto stack over time, and making sure that I've got all of my exchange accounts lined up with a strategy, hence grabbing that Kraken deal and keeping backups like 𝗗𝗀𝘀𝗰 and BitGet, LBank, and so forth in place. It means that staying plugged into the community, shout out to everyone in the Discord and in the comments who share insights and keep me on my toes. Right, the crypto thing isn't a solo journey here. It's a team sport in a lot of different ways. Now, I've learned a whole ton from you all, and I hope that my videos help you in return. Now, we're in exciting times here. Right? XRP is holding strong. The charts are hinting at something rather big, and I generally feel like we're on the verge of a brand new chapter. If that $4.50 target comes in, amazing. If we kind of hit a snag and drop fast, well, we've been there before and we have survived. Either way, I'm going to be here for it, and I'm going to keep sharing everything that I learn along the way. Now, if you have enjoyed this deep dive and you want to join me on the next crypto journey, well, you consider hitting that like button and the subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.